Welcome back to another show and tell video. Today we're looking at a bandolier, and this is for carrying 40 by 46 millimeter low velocity grenades. And these types in here just happen to be training grenades. So there is no active propellant in them. The primers are all struck, and they, even if so, they were training inert projectiles with some sort of signal material to show impact on target. So let's drop that there real quick. And a little bit of history that I was able to glean. These were typically intended for handheld launchers. This is a n.a.t.o type caliber, and historically these were used in the M781. That was a single breech loader. Also the M203, which was an underbarrel, also kind of a sliding pump action breech loader. And then later on, more recently, the HK Heckler and Koch platforms. I believe that is a side opening sort of a pump action, and also the Milcor, which is a kind of a revolver magazine fed or drum fed platform as well, all handheld. So these being low velocity, they'll have a limited range compared to what's called the medium velocity and the high velocity, at which point we're getting into kind of automatic autoloaders, belt feds, that type of platforms on a either some sort of pintle or tripod, or on a vehicle at that point that can handle the recoil and the weight of the item and the ammo as well. So moving on, this being low pressure, these are typically subsonic, and the max range from some researching is about 400 meters with the current version of the training rounds. Now, the actual other types of projectiles, these do come in a large variety of usage active projectiles, in which case would not have this plastic case. It would actually have a full metal case. And those would have a variety of ranges depending on the weight and the composition of the projectiles as well, and the fusing. This is, as you can see here, is a M212. That means the casing itself, this type of casing, this plastic round, which has, I believe, a 38 special blank used as the primer component. And then the base will be loaded with the propellant, and then this will be the projectile portion, which you can sort of see in this kind of shadowy area is how deeply this is currently seated in here. And others will have an actual metal base, which we could see protruding here as part of the seating ring as well on actual live rounds. This, with the cap on top, will be considered an M781 practice round. This actually is just a mock-up, pretty good looking mock-up of the projectile that was normally used on the M781 with the 212 or 212 casing. In that case, it would be a steel body for the lower portion of the casing, which would include this ring here, and the portion you can't see seated within the casing. And then the top part of the projectile would be a plastic ogive cap, And the older type of rounds of the projectile would be filled with a signal type of chalk powder, but currently I believe they use a signal type of dye, and both were colored orange for easy visibility on the range. And some of the information I got was from the Amtech website, which is, I guess, a subsidiary of National Defense Corp. So feel free to research that info or other sources of info about the 40 by 46 millimeter M781 practice round configuration using the M212 casing. So let's take a closer look at these examples. The bandolier itself is pretty simple. It's just a bunch of pouches, and you can see actually there's just two pouches, a center area, 3 items in each pouch with individual snap flaps, and a kind of two-part strap that can be knotted together, tied together for adjustable length, and then this could be worn either on the waist, across the shoulder, that's a true bandolier. So let's pull these out and let's take a closer look at each of these. Similar in layout, but we do have a different variety of lot numbers that I've noticed here. So I'll try to separate these out. The most of them are these PS1978 A001029s. They all say case cartridge practice, comma, M212s, but another comma there. But the lot numbers vary. So these are all the 029s here. And then we have a couple more here. This one is PS196 G001-013. And this one is even older. As you can see, the plastic is aged a bit differently, and this is a KMF87H004-004, and you can barely see the lower edge of the marking there. So it's kind of interesting to continue to use white ink paint on a white surface, but I guess that's just no standard for identifying markings on casings. But more modern ones I have seen dot matrix print in gray and darker inks as well against the brass. So maybe somebody realized at some point that for easier visibility to put a higher contrast. But you can see all have this kind of same ogive flat tip and a round kind of top circumference, and then it just slides down with different slightly tapered diameters and then seated in the casing. In here there's a little bit of weighted material in here. I don't believe it is the dye powder. I have not been able to open these. You can see these are all pretty well sealed, but if I can grab all of them in each hand, get a little ASMR action going there. So, taking a quick look at some examples of the M212 casing loaded as dummy examples of the M781 practice round. And this would be a 40 by 46 millimeter low pressure, low velocity practice training grenades for handheld launchers. These examples were obtained from Numrich Gun Parts Corp. Feel free to check them out. Large variety of items, Numrich. But you can also find them online from other sources. Shop around. This has been another show and tell video. Feel free to check out other show and tell videos on vintage Milsurp tools and expanded topics. We also do unboxing videos as well as a series of book review, media reviews, and also a series called Curios for the Curious, videos on more artsy type objects. Feel free to check all those out. Feel free to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.